Welcome to my next video in our node by node challenge. If you haven't been following along, I'm going through every single node in Blender 4.3 in the shading workspace. I'm going through every single one of the nodes to be able to explain a little bit about how they work and some ways that you can use them. I am by no means an expert, but I've compiled information from YouTube, TikTok, paid tutorials, and all sorts of experts out there to be able to put the information together. I try to mention some of the resources if you want to go more in depth. Like today's, I'm going to be going through the Fresnel node, and Ryan King Art has a really great tutorial about how to view that. He's on YouTube, so definitely make sure you follow him. And then without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the Fresnel node. So the Fresnel node is something when you connect this up to your material output in the shading workspace, you're going to notice that it's going to have two colors. It's going to have black and white. So anything that faces you is going to be solid black. Anything that is at an angle is going to have a white or somewhat grayish tone that's going to go around the object. And as you move around the object, you'll see that it kind of changes depending on your angle. So you can use it for a lot of different things. You can use it for bubbles, like to have like a rim light around the bubble. You can use it for glass. You can use it for shading. I'm going to show you two different ways that we can use it with the shading workspace. So let's say you had two colors, like a red and a gray, and you want to be able to combine them into one shader. If you did this and you had two principal BSDFs and hooked it up to a mix shader, it's just going to come out as a combination of the two. Okay, and by moving the factor around, you're going to change whether it's more red or more gray. So it's pretty basic. Now, if you wanted to be able to add in a little bit of separation between those colors, you could add in a Fresnel node, put it into the factor, and what it's going to do is it adds a little separation. Now, it's hard to see in this, but there is a reddish tone around the gray areas and stuff on the model. If you dial this down, you're going to see the red come in more. If you dial it up, you're going to see it less. You're just going to see it more of a solid color. So, you know, this is just the basic understanding of how this works. You're going to be bringing in some of the secondary color. Now, if you want to be able to add and make it a little more contrast, make it a little bit more of a hard edge going around the object, you can add in a color ramp. Now, a color ramp, when you first add it in, it's not going to look like it's doing anything, but when you move these sliders in, the black slider and the white slider, what you're going to do is the closer you get in here, you're going to start seeing some of those colors shift a little bit. Okay? So you'll just be able to move this in and out. You'll see it's got a little bit more red as the black goes over to the left. Now, if you invert them and you switch it, now it's going to switch the colors. So now you got the red on the inside as opposed to the gray. See how it switches like that? So it just allows you to do that. Now, if you want to change how much there is of the division on there, what you can do is you can dial the Fresnel node up and down. So it has an IOR level. And depending on what you're doing, you can either move this up or down. Okay, so let's say that we were moving it down and we wanted to have a little more of a comic book type look. We can go ahead and do it like that. So that'll go ahead and shows you like how that would work. Okay, so it gives you a pretty good idea, and you can change the colors as you do this. So let's say that you wanted to be able to make it just like a white and black. You can kind of do this. This is more like a silver tone only because it's metallic, or you could do solid white. Okay. Now let's say that you wanted to make it have more of a glass look to it. Now if you wanted to use this with glass, let's say that we were to take these shaders off, add in a glass BSDF into the shader. Now you can have it to where it's going to have a little bit of a division around there. And you could do it with it plugged into the factor, or you could even plug it into the shader and have a different look to it. If you plug it into the shader and you do this, and now you dial this up or down, now you can have it to where it almost looks like there's a monkey inside of a glass monkey. So it gives you that cool look. So if you've ever seen those marbles that have like the colors inside of them, this would be a clever way to do that. You could literally take this and you could create all sorts of different designs and everything in here. And that Fresnel node is going to make it cool because you can dial it up and down. You can change the color ramp depending on how much you want it to show on the inside. You also can switch the colors around. So there's all sorts of really cool tricks that you can do with the Fresnel node. So hopefully this helps you out a little bit, gives you a little more insight, and make sure you follow my videos and follow me on my journey going node by node through the shading workspace.